What's up, everyone? It is I, the almighty Darkscream, and today's review will be on the 80s classic Project Echo. A couple years ago, a YouTube user by the name of MST3K Tom did 3 videos of a series called Anime Recommendations for Darkscream. Those 3 were Tekkaman Blade, which I have yet to see, Riding Bean, which I already reviewed a while back, and the first one he recommended was Project Echo, and I was able to get a DVD copy of it a year back thanks to it being relicensed by Eastern Star, a company I've never heard of before. So, does this anime hold up? Is it good? Does this MST3K Tom fellow actually know my taste and think that this anime is worthy of my time? Let's find out. Project Echo is a science fiction action parody comedy released in 1986 that centers on the titular character Echo, her friend Seiko, and their antagonist Biko. Sometime in the future, not sure when, but about 16 years after a meteor hit Earth on Graviton City, Echo and Seiko transferred to a new high school and attempt to live a normal life, despite Echo possessing superhuman strength and lightning-fast speed. As they arrive, they caught the attention of Biko, a spoiled rich student who knows both her and Seiko from their childhood, and wishes to take Seiko away from Eiko so she could be friends with Seiko, although it's somewhat implied that she wants to be more than just friends, but it's never really completely explained, probably because this was supposed to be part of a hentai series but got changed to something more mainstream, but they left the scene that showed... I'm sorry, I'm being a little sidetracked here. Anyways, Biko will attempt to have Seiko to herself by any means necessary, even constructing giant robots for Eiko to fight. Before the class bell rings, of course. Meanwhile, there's a mysterious figure in a trench coat spying on Eiko and Seiko as they speed their way to school, and sending messages to a giant spaceship heading for Earth, which is led by an alcoholic captain, so they plan to invade Earth and take back Seiko... What the hell am I watching? Yeah, this show is hectic, it's bizarre, it's full of references to anime of the 80s and possibly 70s, and that's why I love it so goddamn much. Boy, does MST3K Tom understand my taste so far. See, plot-wise it's extremely light, but it focuses more on action comedy. The anime contains a boatload of references such as Captain Harlock, Macross, Fist of the North Star, and there's probably more I missed out on, but I will be able to catch it within another watch. There's even a Western reference in the film that I won't mention any further because it's somewhat of a spoiler. Other than the references, they have some running gags that feel more like an episode of Looney Tunes, such as Eiko unintentionally hurting D, that's the guy in the trench coat, as Eiko rushes to school, or how Biko's robots get easily decimated. The show has some mild amounts of fan service as well as some fan disservice, and no, the hulking Kenshiro looking girl's not the worst of it, if that's what you think I'm thinking. Character-wise, everyone just fills out their roles perfectly fine. However, Seiko can be annoying to some viewers, as she's loud and extremely childish, even crying at most points. Other than that, I really have no issues with Eiko, Biko, and the rest of the cast. Eiko, with the exception of her superhuman strength, comes off as more normal than what she could have been, and is very caring towards her friend Seiko, despite not being a big fan of her cooking. Whereas Biko is a little more aggressive and selfish, trying to take Seiko for herself, and uses her brains to create robots and a battle enhancement suit to match Eiko in physical combat, thus making her somewhat of a polar opposite of Eiko. The art and animation was done by Studio APPP, or as I like to call them, Studio App. It's got your typical 80s anime character designs, unique hairstyles, and they even have mechas and ships that appear very shiny and metallic, all that is a plus. And with the anime being watched now, it may bring up some points of nostalgia for the 80s enthusiast or your typical old school anime fan. Now, the animation is pretty good, showing some nice scenes of air and space combat during the 3rd act, and the one-on-one fight between Eiko and Biko in her Akagiyama 23 battlesuit was very brutal and really nice to watch. It's probably up there in like one of my top 15 favorite anime fight scenes. The anime was dubbed by Central Park Media, which used to do stuff like the Slayers TV series, and the dub has aged a little. It's really hard for me to judge a dub back in the day, so I'll try not to be too harsh, but sometimes the acting just comes off as a little wooden, and I thought Biko's voice sounded way too quiety and whispery at times. Other than that, watching a dub is still tolerable. It also has some bizarre moments in the acting, both languages. You know the Kenshiro parody I mentioned earlier? Well, sometimes she would grunt angrily with an obvious deep male voice, but when she talks, she speaks with a full female, somewhat high-pitched voice. So two different voice actors on one character, and the way they did it kind of jarred the hell out of me first time I watched it, because I thought it was some other character talking in the background or something. Now, as for the music, it's pretty good, but what's really interesting is that they have 3 different English-speaking songs in the movie. Now I hope I can blow your minds with this piece of trivia if you don't know already, but there was a cartoon show from the 80s called Gem. I really don't know much about it. I never heard about it until Robot Chicken did a parody or two in their show. But the lead voice actress of that show, Samantha Newark, actually sings one of the songs in Project Echo. The song she sings is called In Your Eyes, which plays during Biko's scene in the bathhouse. And it's actually one of my favorite songs in that film, out of the 3. So in conclusion, I believe Project Echo still holds up to this day as an anime classic, and it should be given exposure to anime audiences today. If you're an 80s anime fan, then you probably already picked this up, so it would be pointless to recommend it to you. However, if you're, a fan of comedies, especially ones that like to poke fun of anime in general, give this anime a watch. I doubt you'll be disappointed. The Easter Star re-release even comes with a handful of bonus material like behind the scenes and audio commentary, something that's rare for most anime on DVD. Now, the show back in the day was popular enough to get a few sequels and a spin-off OVA, and while they were licensed by CPM, there's been no re-release of them recently, so it's hard to pick up. Which sucks because I would like to check them out. Maybe I will if the time comes, but if you've already seen them, please don't spoil it for me. Even if they were disappointing, please. I'd rather just be disappointed by myself. Now, wasn't that a fun and hopefully informative review? Because that's my main goal here on this channel, to inform you on stuff that you may never heard of before, or have but never gone completely in depth with it. I hope this Project Echo review does set your mind on whether or not you want to check that movie out. And speaking of information, I am going to bring back an old classic that I left alone for about a year. And since it's almost winter time, it's great to start that back up again. I won't tell you what it is, but you can feel free to guess in the comments, and you should be able to see that video hopefully Saturday or Sunday. Well, that's all I have to say. Leave a comment if you wish. Darkscream217 signing out.